So what are some of the organizational barriers to change? For every organization, for them to be productive, they have to work on an integrated scale. So all parts of the organization, no matter what department you are, you have to be able to work with everyone else. Some of the problems that stem from not working together are the organizational problems. Some of the barriers that are included are a reward system that reinforces old ways of doing things. So if you were previously rewarded every time you did something well, whether you got a bonus or a promotion, being encouraged and rewarded and praised always helps in an organization, and stuff like that having to change because of cuts or money cutbacks as well. Really, it's something that people are resistant to. But a way to deal with that, whether your organization has to change because on the structural form, you can accommodate to your employees by actually rewarding them. This will keep up the motivation and help them be more effective. Threats to existing balance of power. So if the structure changes from hierarchy to a flat structure, or from flat to the horizontal, then then because of that, people are going to be taken back and very fearful of what's going to change. Who are they going to report to now? How is their position going to change? Next, intergroup conflicts that inhibit cooperation. So anytime that there's a conflict in an organization, that's going to inhibit something. So learning to deal with these conflicts effectively is gonna help the organization change. Incompatibility of change process and organizational culture. Basically, always keep in mind the organization's culture when working with other people. Finally, heavy investments in previous decisions and courses of action. So if for any reason projects have to be put on hold or canceled or reevaluated due to money ties, the organization has to learn to deal with that, because even though it's going to cause a lot of resistance and annoyance on the part of the employees, that's a barrier that they have to work with. The next thing that this text talks about is overcoming resistance to change in an organization. So it provides you with strategies that help you approach your employees, whether it's through education or communication or negotiation, and how to deal with the change process that the organization is going to face. There's a model included that is called the Methods for Dealing with Resistance to Change by Cotter and Schlesinger, and it talks about different methods. So whether it's education, participation, facilitation, negotiation, or coercion, it tells you how to use it, when to use it, the advantages and the disadvantages of it. So for example, if you're using education, you would communicate the desired changes and the reasons to change them. You would use it when the employees need it the most, so when they lack information about why the company is actually changing. The advantage to this is once they're persuaded, they're more likely to actually want to help and be a part of the change. The only drawback is that it could be considered time-consuming to have to convince every employee. Another method I will go through is negotiation. So you use it by having incentives or negotiating an agreement between the employees that would make them before the change. You would use this when people are least considerable to resist the power and would want to figure out the advantages and disadvantages of them giving into the change. The advantage is that it's a relatively easy way to diffuse major resistance. So if they really wanted to resist, you wouldn't do it during this point. The only drawback is that it can be expensive, and managers can be open to the possibility of blackmail, because they may want people may try and bribe them to fix parts or give them a promotion or something, so that they would be participating in the change of the organization. Another one is coercion, where basically you threaten the loss of job or promotion opportunities. You'll see who can be fired, or maybe transfer those. So basically you're threatening the employees that if they don't want to change, they're no longer needed in the company. You'll use this as a last minute option if if you don't really want to let go of employees, but for people who are not going to be participative in what the organization has to go through, you might have to. At this point, speed is very essential, and the initiators who are negotiating this have to possess very considerable power to be very aggressive towards the employees. The advantage is that it works quickly, and it can overcome any kind of resistance, because they're going to be scared of losing their job. They're just going to give in. The drawback is that it can spark intense resentment towards change in the initiators. So you might get the employee to change, but they won't do it out of their heart, or they won't give the work their hardest because, they're not doing it for the right reasons. Finally is working with organizational culture. So this is working with the values, the beliefs, the roles, the norms that are shared within the organization from management to employees, and every role in the organization shares this culture. Using this to predict what level of resistance or change will happen throughout the organization when the news of change is broken to the employees. An example in the text is a chart called the Change Model by Harvey and Brown, and it measures basically the impact of culture based on the degree of change. So if the degree of change is small, but the impact on the culture is large, then it's calculated that there will be some resistance, but a moderate chance of success. If the degree of change is large, but the impact on the culture is also large, there will be a high resistance and a low chance of success. So it's a way to measure, before you actually approach the organization with change, what the success factors are.